Unless you're living under a rock the past week, you will know that Britain had a referendum and voted to leave the European Union. People of Britain voted to leave the EU by a percentage of 52 to 48. If you're from another EU country, you're probably a little bit pissed off at Britain at the moment. But the writing's been on the wall for a long time. Britain has always been sceptical of closer involvement with the European Union. For example, the UK refused to join the Schengen area. It also refused to adopt the euro as its currency, and in general anything the EU can come up with, Britain is usually against it. Let's look at some of the consequences of the UK leaving the EU. So if you're Scottish, the odds are you vote to remain in the EU and they want to leave the EU against your will. Funny thing is that Scotland could have avoided this if it just voted for independence in 2014. One of the major reasons Scotland voted to stay in the UK is because it wanted to stay in the EU, and now it has to leave the EU because it voted to stay in the UK. It's not all bad news though, as talks for a second referendum are underway. If Scotland leave the UK, not only will they have this piss ugly flag, but Northern Ireland will probably want to be independent as well. So if anything, the results show how divided the United Kingdom really is. The Leave campaign campaigned to leave because they felt there was too much mass migration into the UK. They also complained that the UK was paying too much to the EU than it was receiving in return. The Leave campaign said that the UK should reinvest the money into the UK instead of sending it to the EU every week. However, after the referendum, there was a very different tone in their voice.
£350 million a week we send to the EU, which we will no longer send to the EU. Can you guarantee that's going to go to the NHS?
No, I can't, and I would never have made that.
So the message shown in this bus here is basically a giant bullshit lie. Plus the UK will have to accept EU migrants anyway, because it wants to stay in the single market. You might be wondering, how did the Remain side manage to fuck up this referendum? The Remain side was accused heavily of scaremongering the population into staying in the EU, which drove more people to vote to leave the EU.
Let's move all say the same thing about the economic...
Your scaremongering does not stop at the economy, does it? What comes first, World War III or the global Brexit recession?
The Remain side was also coming up against the elderly, which we all know vote in record numbers. In fact, the elderly was one of the main reasons why the Leave side won the referendum. The reaction to the referendum from both sides has been pretty childish and petty, to be quite honest. First is Nigel Farage, who goes to the EU Parliament and acts like a child. Just watch this video.
Isn't it funny? You know, when I came here 17 years ago, and I said that I wanted to lead a campaign to get Britain to leave the European Union, you all laughed at me. Well, I have to say, you're not laughing now, are you?
Nigel's childish behaviour got even worse. He even said this, watch.
A different relationship. Now I know that virtually none of you have ever done a proper job in your lives.
The UK is supposed to negotiate a deal with the EU, and that's how they're speaking to them. The Remain side is also guilty of acting childish. Despite the Remain side losing the referendum, people are still protesting against the democratic result. The protests that we're seeing now are basically a protest against a democratic decision made by the majority of the people of the country. Despite the process being done democratically, people are still protesting against the result. No matter what though, Britain will leave the EU. It remains to be seen whether this will be seen as a good thing or a bad thing in the future. Thanks for watching.